Alrighty, Roo. This is Cam, other brother Slim, and welcome back to another Making It Known of Kingdoms Forlorn, Dragons, Devils, and Kings. This is going to be update 67, summertime summaries. Something like that, at least. Okay, so I haven't actually read this one yet, so we're going in blind. Also, the voice is a little funny. Don't mind me. I'm just getting over a bout of ye old COVID. Fun times indeed. Hi there, everyone. Another summer update is here. The lovely August weather keeps our spirits up and the tourist season in full bloom. I can definitely attest to that in my home on the west coast of Canada, too. With the sea so close by, Gdansk, also same here on the west coast of Canada, ooh, similarities. We were thankfully spared the merciless summer heat the rest of Poland is engulfed in. We hope you're enjoying your summer to the fullest. Remember to drink water and protect yourselves from sun rays. We have a lot more in store for you today, including a progress update. Fun. Introducing Dungeons, Part 2. Some fun art there as well. Is that building totally upside down? Excuse me. I do believe it is. Trippy. Very trippy. Two updates ago, we introduced the dungeon mechanic and the Sunken Kingdom exclusive Black Ziggurat. Well, this time around, we would like to talk to you about the Principality of Stone dungeon, the Tunnels of Alger Barrett. A quick reminder, dungeons are intended to function as a shorter late-game alternative to full-fledged delves, as well as post-game content. Each dungeon consists of a deck of 20 cards, and exploring it should take about 30 minutes in total. It also requires much less setup than a regular delve would, which is nice. ATO has a lot of setup. Tunnels of Alger Barrett. An old and decrepit tower once inhabited by a wizard of great renown, filled with many dangers and even more stairs, hangs upside down from the edge of a great cliff, defying gravity thanks to whatever inanimate power it possesses. Interesting. To find the treasures hidden inside, you must descend into the dark and brooding depths of the tower, with but a lantern to guide you. Don't let it go out, for danger awaits at every corner. Cool. The Tunnels of Alger Barrett serve as Principality of Stone's counterparts to the Black Ziggurat. While the Black Ziggurat is intended to create a feeling of verticality and layers through dungeon cards being stacked on top of each other, the tunnels will intimidate you with their sheer length and make you lose your way in its corridors. What makes this dungeon unique is the lack of a time mechanic. Instead, what is crucial inside the Tunnels of Alger Barrett is a light source. Without it, you would easily lose your way and perish wandering the seemingly endless corridors. Therefore, the time track will be used to track fuel levels of your lantern, a versatile resource that you will need to manage wisely inside the tunnels. Spending fuel will grant you your advantage when moving through the tunnels and may help you explore various chambers you may come across along the way. Interesting, so same mechanic, just renamed, but with, I assume, different ways to get more of it? When moving the party, we'll draw cards from stacks representing different layers of the tower and attempt to connect them to their current path or tile in order to progress. Spending fuel will determine how hard or easy that is to do. No fuel means you go in blind and must resolve the first drawn card, while the more lamp fuel you use, the more options for successes you will gain, such as choosing which paths to connect or rotating the drawn cards. Interesting. The biggest indicator of whether you should spend fuel or not is the encounter board, which serves as a visual representation of how close you are to triggering any traps or negative effects during your encounter. Certain effects, such as spending fuel, will cause you to place tokens on specific spaces of the encounter board. If there are too many of them, for example, or if you cover all symbols of a given tile in a specific combination of a given type or in a specific combination, you will trigger effects corresponding to symbols on the board. These may vary from additional threats to encounters. Interesting. I can't fully remember what this is. Hopefully they'll show like a... Okay, cool. Yeah, there is art. Reaching the very top or bottom, depending on how you look at it, of the tower is nigh impossible. What you must do to succeed in your expedition instead is gather clues. You will need 4 clues in total to succeed, each found deeper down the tunnels than for the previous. But keep in mind that for each clue you find, the more difficult every next step becomes. Sometimes it might be wiser to gather them at a slower pace, but that means venturing even further down below. Okay, so what do we have here? Tunnels of Alger Barrett. The tower does not take kindly to any and all trespassers, the ever-changing layouts being the least of its dangers. Adventurers will need to consider their resources while traveling. Let's take a look at this example. So this is a wizard's tower, it's upside down, there's changing stairs and rooms. It's basically Harry Potter. Enemy pool. So this is encounter and ambush sequence. That text is too small to read, and same as that. Art's really cool though. The encounter board, which reflects the current danger level, is almost full of tokens. Placing any more without creating a group of 3 tokens would trigger a trap is very unlikely. Therefore, the party dims their lanterns, saving fuel, but also avoiding adding any new tokens to the board. They blindly follow a chosen pathway, draw a card from the card assigned to that row, and place it in its default orientation in the direction of the path, marked with an arrow pointing downwards. We got the arrow pointing downwards here. Let's see what this looks like. So this is a new card, so still going downwards. Unfortunately, the chosen path can't connect to the new tile, so the party fails to move and has to roll a black die as the penalty. Fortunately or not, they roll a single potential symbol, so they place a generic token in the corner space of the encounter board. Corner space, I assume, is the enemy pool. Oh, no, that being the generic token. For time or something? Since backtracking would certainly trigger a trap, the party lights up their lantern to gain a better chance of moving forward. They lose 1 time / fuel for this one, I assume, to draw a card from the card assigned to the next row. This time they can not only pick where to place it, but also rotate the card, which immediately comes in handy. So in which case you can rotate the cards so that there's a staircase that you can access, or in this case a ladder. Down here, and then, okay, so this is the card that they drew, so it's rotated so that there is an actual staircase that conjoins rather than that not. Interesting. Since the party had their lantern lit, they must now roll a red die, which lands on a blank result. This means that they must place a generic token on the last available space with that result, triggering 2 traps because they not only placed a token on the last space with a given symbol, but also because they created a group of 3 connected tokens, so it's like connect 3 instead of connect 4. In this case, the party gains 2 something, flips the current tile, and every tile connected to 180 degrees is then resolves an encounter. Sorry, I'm really struggling to read today. Well, this complicates things as the party is no longer able to backtrack. They will now need to rely on luck to continue. So that goes down, connecting 3 tokens. Phew, that was a fair amount of explanations. Overall, the tunnels of Aldrich Barrett will be a bit more complex rules-wise than the Black Ziggurat, but the gameplay becomes straightforward once you get the hang of it. We hope you look forward to it. That left me very confused, not gonna lie. I do have COVID brain, so we'll chalk it up to hopefully the brain fog. But this is something I think I mentioned in previous updates, and anything from me, listen to it with a grain of salt because I'm no longer getting this game, but just very curious about it. And I think the world building and ITU in general is freaking awesome, so come to your own conclusions for sure too. But I feel like even if it has a little setup, these games have a lot of rules to remember. And if there's going to be multiple little mini games that are important to know, it just feels like a lot. But we'll see how it looks and plays in person. The components and the map laying and such, I like that. Like it's very pretty, which is nice. Is pretty the right words? It's well done. Current progress. Now, on a more serious note, we would like to talk to you about where we currently are with the game, as we last shared our progress on the project in January. You may remember the progress bubbles infographic we've shown then. We filled those bubbles to the brim and entered the last stretch of final testing, polishing, editing, and layout. Marcin is a cruel taskmaster. Just as with ATO expansions, the biggest challenge in all this was developing a rich narrative and diverse quests. At ITU, we pride ourselves on memorable and truly unique stories, and these tend to be the toughest to craft due to the number of excuse me, bespoke mechanics and modules. However, we can happily say that the last chapters of Night Stories are leaving the writer's room on a regular basis and land in the hands of testers and proofreaders. Cool. Yeah, like hands down, it's not like I've played a million board games or anything, but I definitely think ITU has the best narrative out of any card tabletop board game I've played, like ever, just hands down. It's so good. You can see the detailed overall state of our progress on the infographic below. Testing, 85%, core mechanics 100s. Yeah, so the lowest thing that they have is testing at 85%. And a whole bunch of 100s and 99s. Looking good. That is for show. We finished developing all mechanics in the game. Joining the KF team in full force, Marcin has already experienced all possible gameplay configurations and granted the game a seal of approval, but only after we've applied his extensive feedback. Now we're in the process of assembling it all together and putting the finishing touches, as well as extensive testing of the whole game. Repeats, as well as we call them, including Night Stories. We're also making slight changes to the game economy, small but necessary adjustments. To combat the issues we've encountered during the production of ATO and KF, we've also expanded our production team. Very, very interesting. The Panzer Dragon awaits your challenge, and Marcin has entered the chat. That dragon looks freaking sick. I've said this before about dragon minis, I believe. Like, dragons are done to the nines. They're all over the place, and there's a lot of really, really good ones. But all of the ones in Kingdoms Forlorn are so unique. And, like, it's not like they're trying to be unique, if that makes sense. Like, they totally fit the, not economy, like the ecological niche in which these creatures would be found in. And they're so on point thematically and visually. And, like, the miniature in print looks freaking awesome. I'm assuming that that is a production quality one. We've moved heaven and earth to speed up KF's last stretch development, including foregoing convention booth appearances at Gen Con and Spiel Essen, and hiring additional production assistants and testers. And it worked. Considering the rapid progress, I'm confident development and all internal work for KF will be finished this year. All ancillary development is scheduled to end in September, and all testing, editing, and layouting in November. This includes my custom roguelite campaign mode, a sort of Nestus theater that you can play from the start. And it's not harder than the normal game. In December, we're delivering the final files to our factory, which will begin production, at which point the rest of the KF team, because some people have already made the transfer or will make it to the end of September, will move on to KF Wave 2 and Enormity. Interesting about the Nestus theater-like thing that isn't harder than the normal game. Roguelite campaign mode. I'm curious how that fits in with the narrative and such, because one thing with ATO is it's a freaking huge game. Like, just the base, not even excluding expansions or everything coming up with future releases. Huge! Like, I think we've been playing it for coming up on, or maybe actually have surpassed 60 hours, and we're still in cycle 1 of 3, of 5, of, like, so many more stuff could be out in the future too. So it's huge. And so I'm curious how the narrative, if the narrative does fit in this roguelite mode too, because if there's a way to play through the story a little bit quicker, that would be appealing. Okay. Which still makes us fall short of the Q4 2024 delivery. I'm fully aware you've been waiting for a long time, and I and the KF team are very sorry. We must ask for a bit more of your patience. Are you sure the additional time is needed to polish the product and to ship the game in a complete state? Shigeru Miyamoto once said that a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed one is forever bad. In the age of online patches, it may not be as true for video games as it once was, but it is very much true for board games. I value your time and your backing, and I am confident that you'll be amazed at the game you will receive at the beginning of the year. Yep, full faith there, honestly, with everything that they've delivered with ATO so far and what's coming to us soon. 110 full faith there, for sure. And it'll be worth the wait also. Like, it's anyone unfamiliar with crowdfunding delays, like, they happen. As like the most smallest comparison, I used to work in publishing, which I might have shared before, and even with working with a single author making a single book without any sort of like illustrations to make it more complex, so many delays happen. And then especially when you bring in utilizing a printer for even just a book, let alone all of the different components and getting things shipped, delays happen. Even with the best laid plans, they happen. So, like, yeah, it's been a while, but I'm not concerned in the slightest, and I think the delay will absolutely be worth it. Okay, to hold you over these additional weeks, we will be releasing a new curated tabletop simulator extended demo in autumn. You'll be able to play through a full delve and a few new clashes, just to whet your appetite for the full thing. Why in autumn? So you'll be playing on the final pre-production assets. Cool. I wonder if I should try and pick that up or like utilize it, because there's some tabletop simulator things which would be a lot of fun to try, but I don't have a very good computer, so I don't know if it worked. Tuck boxes. We've read your feedback regarding the Knight tuck boxes and noticed many doubts about the durability of the solution, especially the box lid. Reaching out, we prototyped a classic two-piece box solution for all of the Knight boxes. This is a more costly endeavor. Actually, such boxes cost almost 3 times as much to produce, but we are considering it if it'll spare you additional worries. Switching to these types of boxes hinges on its impact on the timeline. Now that I'm fully aboard the KF team, I'm unwilling to move on any more deadlines for any reason, so if these boxes would do that, I will stick to the old design, which arguably was tested and is sturdy. As long as I have your attention, ATO mini update, reprint expansion, shipping pledge vendor closing soon. Let's see, that's basically what we've read before in the previous ATO updates, basically that things are closing, and if you want to get anything, make sure you do it now. Or do it soon, I should say. And then Enormity, that thing, you might have heard about it. Enormity! Enormity launches only after we deliver the final KF files to the factory. Production is paid and commences. Yep, I think that's super fair. Like, obviously, they've got other projects in their pipeline. And I think delivering ATO Wave 2, getting KF1 on the way is a great time to build up hype and excitement for their next project, too. Which does sound pretty sweet, honestly. Not in the budget or in the... not in the financial budget, not in the time budget, but my goodness, it'll be fun to follow because I'm sure it'll be a great launch too. Woo. But yeah, thank you for joining me on Making It Known, Kingdoms Forlorn edition, number 64 or 67, whatever it was. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.